YouTube, how you doing? Duckfilms here. Today we got our tier list for, what is this? May 13th, Deadlock. Let's look at it. So getting started, we look at Abrams. So recently they did some changes with the runes, with health, and this everything as well. They also nerfed Abrams entirely with his AoE healing, and I don't think he's really good. I think there's a rare occasions where he's good, where you're trying to build like for a pick character with Phantom Strike and so on, but I don't think he's rarely played. I don't think there's really like a D tier. I think for the most part, like all characters are pretty usable, but I don't think they're amazing. I think for the most part, in any game I play, every single character can feel like a S tier character if they're ahead, which certainly is true, but certain characters outshine others. So I think Abrams is kind of C tier because he's just not as impactful, or he doesn't have as much healing and everything like that as he used to. Apollo, I think Apollo, he got nerfed by, it went from 100 to 80 damage with his sigil, and I think he's still setting up at the S tier. He does a lot of early game damage in the laning phase. With that, you can use to snowball across the entire map. So you're getting an early pick, or you're rotating this to burst down enemies in the other lanes right away. He's a really good engager / frontline hybrid character, and can just be an absolute terror and menace and whatnot. So I think he sits S tier. Bebop, the gun changes didn't really affect this character. It's kind of weird. I think he's an unethical character. I think the character is very good right now. And I think like if you're going to be playing Bebop, the only really way to play him is gun. I don't think Spirit's good at all. And I've been seeing a lot more Bebops in my games because of just how strong he is. Again, I'm like, I don't know, middle Eternus 4, Eternus 5. And I think he sits around, you know, the upper echelon of S+, unethical. Like, this character is insane. If he's on the other team, he can be really annoying to deal with, really hard to shut down. Yeah, so I think he's up there as well. Again, like I say, as always, you can put in the comments down below what you think about my tier list, whether it's good, it's bad. If you have your own opinions, do let me know. Just nothing wrong with that. I think opinions are always welcomed in tier list videos. There's no wrong opinion. It's only your own. I just like to have discussions with my tier list videos. But Billy, I think Billy's pretty good. The recent changes to the gun scaling and HP scaling do kind of affect him a little bit, but not really. There's items such as Frenzy and others that got buffed, so this character becomes a lot stronger. I think for your melee frontline character, he's definitely better than Abrams. I think he's like B tier, like he's in the middle. Like I said, the character's still really good. With Calico, I don't think Calico's that good at all. Celeste, I still think Celeste is really good. Like, I think she's really good. I'm putting her A. She still does a ton of damage if you're doing it right. You're kind of the urn runner of the game. You're running urns 24/7, and that's how your team gets an advantage because you're so consistent in rotating around the map. But maybe in lower elo, she's not as good because people don't necessarily know how to use movement to the best of their ability, or they just don't understand the strengths of this character, being able to rotate from lane to lane, ganking and whatnot. So I think we're going to put him on the safe side and put her A. Doorman, unethical. This character is completely piss broken, overpowered, and needs to be nuked from the server. And I really hate Yoshi because he has added Doorman to this game. This character is the pinnacle of unethical. If you play Doorman, I think you belong somewhere not near us at all. This character is not okay. Whether you're building straight kidnap or straight damage, the character is just so strong. It like really doesn't matter. Yeah, if you pick Doorman, just play, like, if you're trying to climb, just play Doorman Bebop, honestly. Like, these characters can go pretty much untouched and uncontested. And they're just so strong. Drifter C. I think the gun changes really hurt him. Yeah, he can build trophy and scale pretty well. But I think all the changes that are happening in game right now is just like negatively affecting this character. And because like gun isn't as prevalent, he starts to fall off, or he doesn't do as much damage because of that change. But I think if you're able to build enough stacks and whatnot, you can easily take over a game, but I still don't think he's that good. Yeah, I'm also not seeing a lot of drifters. The drifters I've been seeing recently have been going like 0-10, and it's just really sad to watch them play the video game. Dynamo. I think Dynamo in matchmaking is always a good character. I think A, because he has a game-winning ultimate and a game-changing ultimate, no matter where you're coming from. He also has an ability to cleanse all of his allies with his 2 once it's maxed up. Splanto Entanglement. But until, like... Because it's a coin flip. If Sinclair is in the game, the Dynamo feels like a B, C tier character. If Sinclair's not in the game, this guy feels like AS. So I'm just going to put him A. And that's probably going to think. Graves, I don't think Graves is good at all. I think Graves is actually pretty bad. Yeah, that's really about it. She's pretty bad. Talon, I think Talon's really good. I think Talon, building Spirit Talon is really, really good. I think he sets A. If you're not building Talon Spirit or building for the bird, you're kind of trolling. Like, yeah, you can build gun build, but it's just not as good. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Haze. Haze is an interesting character because you're not really building gun. Right now, you're building like gank and utility focus for the most part if you want to play the character in like a proper way rather than just trying to solo carry. I think she sets A for the reason that you're playing her to gank, you're playing her to debuff people, and you're playing her to sleep people, and you're playing her to just be a nuisance. You're not necessarily playing her to take over the game or anything like that. You're picking the character to snowball the rest of your team. That's the idea behind Haze. Holiday. I think Holiday is really bad. She can be good for those rare occurrences, but like her ultimate just gets interrupted by so many other things and it's just not good in my eyes. Infernus got changes to where he doesn't damage walkers as much with his flame dash. He doesn't do as much damage to enemies with his flame dash as well, so you build a more gun. I think the hybrid mix of both spirit and gun is really good for characters, especially because of the changes to gun in the late game. And because of that, he definitely goes up higher in priority, probably B tier for mine. Why did I say it like that? For me, at least, Infernus B, because he's the hybrid. If an Infernus is super fed, he looks like an S tier character, but if he's not super fed, he looks pretty weak. You can still build him Dash Infernus, although you're not going to be having as much impact as you are maybe building like a hybrid gun. He still is rather good. Like, don't get me wrong, like I said, in my tier list, characters are placed, but in my eyes, all characters are super good, can all be super fed, and still have an insane amount of impact. It just kind of seems like this is the power level of said characters. Like, they can have more power, essentially. Ivy, I think Ivy is really good for support. Your support hybrid character. I don't think you should be really playing her any other way because of the changes to gun. Gun is not as strong and everything like that. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. Kelvin is still kind of the same idea. Super strong support character. Probably A tier is what I would say. Lady Geist. Geist is probably sitting B tier. Again, like I said, the changes with the boons of the gun and the HP changes don't make certain M1 carries as good. You have carries like Warden, Venator that still remain at the top. Warden because of his health scaling, and Venator because he's just Venator and can scale really well regardless of the changes, because how fast he eats camps and how fast he can get online. But that's about that. For Lash, I think Lash sits S tier because he's just so good. Typically, you don't want to build him Spirit as of right now, as of May 13th, because the Spirit scaling with him is a little weird. He's not as strong as he previously was, so you build a more like hybrid gun, but he still can absolutely carry and shred enemies, so I still think he's good regardless. McGinnis is probably C tier. She's not that good. She might need some changes, but we shall see. Mina, I think Mina's A tier. I think she's good in a lot of different situations. She does a lot of burst spirit damage, which is very good. Yeah. Then Mirage. I think Mirage is still S tier. With the Beetle build, the Spirit build, don't really build him guns, so it doesn't really matter. The whole idea is that you will always have map priority if you have a Mirage on your team, because he's just TPing between lanes, fixing waves, and all of that jazz. Mohammed and Kareem, I think probably A tier. That's probably what I'm thinking. He's just good. Like, the health changes, like, you're not going to be having like 7k health at like what, 15 minutes, maybe 6k, but he's still overall a very strong character. I think if you know what you're playing for, it's a good idea. Moving on to Paige, I don't think Paige is good. I think she's a lot weak. She's pretty weak with the changes recently. Same thing with Paradox. I think Paradox is kind of like bottom A. She's a pick hero. Pick is not that good right now, unless you're playing Bebop and so on. It's just because you have things like Rescue Beam that can kind of save them. There's just better characters for like pick characters, for example, that you would prioritize over Paradox, like Bebop, like Lash, like Doorman. Those characters just have a better priority. I think Pocket is very good. I think he's very, very, very good. Affliction is insane, especially with the health changes and the cooldown for his ultimate getting changed in the recent patch. This makes him be able to afflict people a lot more consistently and a lot more constantly. So this is a big S tier character in my eyes. Rem, I think Rem is kind of on the same boat as Paige. Not too good, but not bad. Seven, I don't think Seven's a good character. I think people that play him just don't know what they're doing. Usually the 7 player will be 0-12 with 40k or with 40k farm, having the most farm but having the least amount of impact, because not a lot of people know how to actually utilize this character. And the character is rather easy to shut down for the most part. There's just so many options. You have knockdown, you have curse, you have, you know, a ton of other options that can just actually destroy. Moving on to Shiv. Shiv, unethical. This character is broken beyond belief. It doesn't matter about the recent changes they did to this character. This character will always remain extremely strong and extremely consistent because of just the sheer amount of damage she does. No character as a frontline tanky-ish character should be able to have 1 billion movement, 1 billion HP, and do 1 billion damage. There needs to be some sort of divergence. They need to do something about this character to where he isn't able to do everything. I think if you're not like carrying games on Shiv, it's like kind of questionable, because this character just has so much they can do. Like, if you get slowing hex, you can just right click away. If you're getting jumped, you have your slice and dice, you have your ultimate, and you have your right click to get out of harm's way, and you also have bloodletting, which just keeps you alive the entire time. So it's like this character just has so many options to do anything. Silver is probably still like S tier. She's still super strong for a frontliner hybrid. I think there's just so much going for her that it's really hard to do anything. Sinclair is like a questionable character. I think I'm putting him B, mainly because he's just super reliant on what the enemy team is playing, and because in matchmaking it's not a draft system and it's more RNG. You're not really able to, you know, choose who you're playing against, so you know what ultimate you can steal and whatnot. It's always a question mark. Like, if there's a Dynamo, there's a Kelvin, there's some good character or like a Lash or a Doorman on the enemy team, then Sinclair can move up a couple tiers because you have the option to use your ultimate on said heroes. But if you don't have those characters, the character kind of feels useless because you don't have the ability to use said ultimates. So it's just really reliant on what you're playing with, who's like on the enemy team. And it's like, it's not even situational, it's just reliant on who the enemy are playing as. So I think we have to put him kind of B tier because he's just so reliant on everything else. Now, Venator is a character that kind of, yeah, they changed the health boons and they changed the scaling with gun. But I think without that, he's still pretty good. Like, I still think he's A tier, but I just don't think he's that much of a high priority pick. Moving on to Victor. Victor, I think, is unethical in matchmaking right now because of the wall breaker strategy, where you just run it down for shrines, which is like, the thing that is really infuriating right now is this character and the ability for him to just TP past the base Guardians, get a shrine, and get out at 15 minutes. I think having that ability is just not okay for the game in general. I think they have to change the game fundamentally, where it's you have to destroy the base Guardians to be able to destroy a shrine. Then the game would be so much better. Then you wouldn't have to deal with issues like the Victor or like a McGinnis or like Infernus, like going for the backdoor on your shrine at 15 minutes. So I think they need to make that change for this or for this whole idea to be fixed. Vindicta, I think Vindicta's pretty good, but I think again super situational. If like they have a lot of catch characters, she can feel pretty useless. I think she sets B tier. That's probably for at least for me. Viscous, I think Viscous is one of the better supports right now, especially if you're playing him support. I don't think you should really be playing him any other way unless you're trying to play ball or something. But I think he's like A tier, bottom of A tier right now. I'm not seeing him super like a lot. When I do see a Viscous player, they're usually not playing supports and playing like more damage. But I think where Viscous really shines is support because of how strong Cube is, because you can just dispel non-ultimate abilities with his cube, which I think is just insane. Moving on to Vyper. I think Vyper is really good still. I don't think the gun changes or anything like that really affected her. And the reason why you pick this character is because she just does a ton of damage. Like the thing with the armor piercing and like killing through Bola was a bug. That has always been a bug, and they finally fixed it, and people are like crying about it. But I think the character is still really good regardless. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Then moving on to Warden. So with Warden, yeah, there was some gun buff changes with just how the gun operates. But I think the thing with Warden is that the health scaling is so good for him that he has so much HP, and he's probably one of the best late game M1 carries in the game right now. Besides Vyper, besides Mirage, and besides Victor, if you want to consider him an M1 carry. But this is kind of where I'm leaning to. That is not the right character. Warden. Yamato. Yamato is a weird character to me. She's good and bad. She's really good if you get ahead. She's really bad if you're far behind. She's kind of like Talon in that aspect, whereas when you're playing Talon and you're ahead, it feels amazing. But when you're behind on Talon, it feels like the worst experience possible. But I think she's not as good as Talon because you just have better frontline characters. Because you have Silver, you have Bebop, you have Shiv, you have Victor in the game. And I guess you have Lash. So I think that's kind of that. Okay, moving on, we go to Wraith. Now, I don't think Wraith is that good. I don't have the best impression of this character. Because it's the same case where she can get shut down by a lot of things. You just need to not let her get ahead. Is like the idea. I mean, that could be said for a lot of M1 carries where you don't want the characters to get ahead. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at. But before you click off the video, I'm going to actually rearrange the order to actually, kind of think of how I think in terms of power ranking from left to right, which I typically don't do. But I think I'm going to do that. Like I said, I appreciate you guys sticking with me for a rather long video. If you haven't done so, make sure to hit that like button and make sure to subscribe to the channel. This tier list is a little bit wonky, but this is just kind of like what I'm thinking. First things first, I don't think there should be so many S tier characters. There's only a couple in my eyes. And I think the unethical characters are fine. I think I'm going to move Silver up. Yeah, I think I'm gonna move Silver up. I think that's fine. I don't like all these characters in S tier. I think Mirage, I think Lash, I think these three are fine. Pocket, Apollo, Lash is fine. I think I'm gonna move Mirage to the top of A. Followed by Mina, then Vyper. So these three. Then I'm gonna put Celeste there. Celeste is fine because if these characters kind of all do the same, where they just can carry games, these three. This is your like Spirit Nuker, Rotate Heavy, Earn Deliver, Service Uber Deluxe. I think that's fine. I think Dynamo here is fine. I'd actually move Haze up one because of how you're playing Haze for a pick character. You're going for picks, you're roaming around the map. You're not necessarily playing for your ult in a perfect world. That's kind of what you should be doing. I think after Haze, I'm going to go with, I think Ivy for like another support, like a main support S character. Then I think I would go Paradox. Seems about right. And then after Paradox, I think I would go Warden. Then a Venator. Then I think I go Mokrill. Then I think I go Talon, Kelvin, Viscous. These two are kind of like on the same level in terms of like how good they are by being a support. So I think that's fine. I think Mirage is stronger than Mina, mainly because of Mirage, you have map pressure everywhere. Mina, she doesn't have the same ability to jump around the map as Mirage does. So I think that's why you place Mirage above. Okay, that's kind of like what I'm thinking of here. This is like power level in my eyes, which could be a little bit different than your guys' power level, which again, perfectly fine. So B tier. I think we do Vindicta. Then I think we go Wraith, which is fine. Geist, which is our next carry. Then probably Sinclair. Then probably Billy. After Billy, probably Yamato. Then Ram, Infernus, Paige. That's fine to me. Here, I'll do Abrams, Drifter. Cali, I guess, Graves. Holiday, McGinnis 7. I think that's fine. I'm just really not a big fan of 7. But now this is kind of what I'm looking at for the tier list in terms of power ranking. So left to right. Unethical is just like essentially like S++. Like these characters are like the super strong. Yeah. Like I said, in all of my other tier list videos and everything like that, in my eyes, every single character can be strong. It just depends how good the individual is playing said character. Because you could be, for example, let's say a Holiday or a McGinnis one trick. And you can be insane at the character and make the character look like an S tier character, which is perfectly fine. But in the eyes of other people, maybe they see a McGinnis or a Holiday, a person trying to play said character, and they go 0-12, they don't see the impact and whatnot, so they don't think highly of that character. Like I said, I'm not thinking that every single character is bad in the game, but like every single character has potential. I just don't think like if you get what I mean, it's like anybody can be good with any character, no matter the rank. But this is kind of what I see in terms of power ranking. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm going with. Like I said, let me know what you think in the comments down below. As always, I hope you have a great and safe day. Don't forget to follow. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to sub and all that jazz. But yeah, hope you have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next one.